I think you missed one thing when you were talking about the positives, Wascana Lake.
Yes.
And the reason I mention that is because I spent a day with my mother there some number of years ago, and she was recovering from a stroke. And I was not aware of how well developed that area had been. I have a question, I guess. You may or may not be aware of all the work that the Agriculture and Rural Life Committee has been trying to do for the party in the last few years. And the need to reach out to rural ridings and the deficit in membership and the continuing fall in voter share there. Just wondering if you have any observations on that situation. Thanks.
Oh, well, thanks, Leonard. Yes, and I mean, there's no question. If we are going to form government, we won't form it simply on the major urban centers. We need to build our support beyond the major urban centers. We need really to be doing some real work in what I would call the smaller urbans, the North Battlefords, the Moose Jaws, the Prince Albert, perhaps Yorktons, and some of those smaller urbans. And then we need to find ourselves back in the smaller communities. Now, of course, the landscape has changed so much, even from when we were last government. I mean, the land holdings, as you well know, are so much larger. The population on the land is diminishing, urbanizing into the smaller communities. We drive into Moose Jaw, and just north of Moose Jaw, there's a landowner. I think he's got 30 some huge granaries there. Way more storage on his farm than we had in many of our communities. It's a major industrial operation that he operates. It's such a different world, and that's why I think it is so important that our Rural and Ag Committee is at work. Because, as I say, we need to be listening, and we need to be talking to people. And without building beyond our major urbans, we're not going to be government. And I just believe it is so crucial that we find our way back to government. It is so crucial that we begin to move the political center in this province again back, the political center back towards what is a true center. So thanks for your observation. Let me just say about the Wascana Lake, that was an amazing project. You know, the Wascana Lake was I mean, the legislature was built around it as a beautiful spot, but it had got to about 3 feet deep, and it was just abysmal. And I can tell you, the smell of that place in the spring was intolerable. And so this project to dig the lake. Harold, can I tell one story about that?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, this is I find this kind of a cute story in my life. I'll never forget it. In the middle of that project, of course, it was all timed because we had to get the lake dug before the spring runoff. But it was a real high pressure on everything flowing as it should, and with a huge amount of equipment in there. Anyway, the contractors came in one day and said to me, "We think we can save you $1 million. If you let us take some of this fill that we're taking out of the bottom of the lake, not haul it out of town as was happening, but deposit on on the little island that is in the center of the lake." And I thought, well, you know, $1 million, that's a worthwhile savings if this can be done. Well, my very good friend Lawrence Scott heard about this, and he came to me and explained to me that over time, there was a colony of turtles that had occupied that island. These were the little dime store turtles we always used to get at the pet store, and people would get them at home and then decide they didn't want them. They let them go in the lake. Well, these turtles created a whole colony on this lake. And if we were to put all this fill on top of the turtles, we would destroy the turtle colony. And Lauren was sure that someone would file an injunction and halt the whole project while we sorted out the turtles. So I phoned the contractor back, or I called him back in, and I said, no, I think we're gonna pay the $1 million and get that dirt out of here. We're not gonna bury the turtles. Well, here's the upswing of the project. I one day was reading in a magazine, a naturalist magazine, about the Premier of Saskatchewan who saved the turtles. I didn't know I was out saving the turtles. Anyway, but yeah, we were happy to get that project done. It was a very major project, and it's so much a part of the legislative grounds that